Senator, the president has said he
You
will follow.
were able to answer Senator Kennedy, but I want to make sure that you were not misleading Senator Kennedy. Yes or no, would you ever advise the administration it could ignore a district court order because you believed the Supreme Court would ultimately rule otherwise? Yes or no, would you ever advise them that?
Senator, applicable court orders should be followed.
That's not my question. Yes or no?
Senator, you asked me.
Yes or no, Mr. Geiser? It's a simple question.
Senator,
Mr. Geiser, you were able to answer Senator Kennedy. Are you raising a doubt now about your answers to Senator Kennedy because you can't answer this question? So your answer is no, you would never advise them to disregard a district court order, even if you thought the Supreme Court
Again,
would
I don't want to
overturn
speak. I don't want to speak.
I just want you to be precise and answer yes or no.
I can't see a time where I would do that. No.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to America First, the channel where we don't bend the knee to the woke mob, where we don't take orders from the mainstream media, and where we will never stop fighting for the truth, the Constitution, and the values that built this great nation. Before we get started, I need you to do 3 simple things. First, hit that like button. It helps us beat the algorithm and get the truth out to more patriots like you. Second, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We post regular content breaking down the biggest political stories from a common sense, America First perspective. And third, and this is big, support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. That small contribution helps keep us independent, ad-free, and able to say what needs to be said without corporate filters or big tech censorship. Now, let's get into what happened in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and more specifically, what Adam Schiff, the disgraceful poster boy for Democrat corruption and deceit, did during a confirmation hearing for DOJ legal nominees.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to follow up on Senator Kennedy's line of question and ask a similar line of yes or no questions just to put a finer point and make sure that your answers are as definitive as they sounded. So let me start with you, Mr. Edlow. Yes or no? Would you ever advise the administration that it could ignore or disregard an applicable district court order because you believe the Supreme Court will ultimately overturn it?
Senator, as I said before,
yes, just a yes or no question.
I don't believe I'll
like
ever be
Senator,
in that position.
but you may not. But just like you answered Senator Kennedy, I want to make sure that you were not misleading anyone. So let me ask the question again. Would you ever advise the administration that it could disregard an applicable district court opinion or order because you believe the Supreme Court will ultimately overturn it? Yes or no?
I don't want to speculate, but I can't see a situation where I would advise to not follow a court order.
So your answer is no, you would never advise them to disregard a district court order, even if you thought the Supreme Court
Again,
would
I don't want to
overturn.
speak. I don't want to speak.
I just want you to be precise and answer yes or no.
I can't see a time where I would do that. No.
Okay. Mr. Geiser, yes or no?
thank you very much, Senator Schiff. I would advise clients to follow court orders.
Even if you believe the Supreme Court would ultimately overturn the district court?
Well, Senator, as far as
Yes or no?
the answer is the same. The president has said he will follow court
the
orders.
same answer, yes or no?
Senator, the president has said he will
You
follow.
were able to answer Senator Kennedy, but I want to make sure that you were not misleading Senator Kennedy. Yes or no, would you ever advise the administration it could ignore a district court order because you believed the Supreme Court would ultimately rule otherwise? Yes or no, would you ever advise them that?
Senator, applicable court orders should be followed.
That's not my question. Yes or no?
Senator, you asked me.
Yes or no, Mr. Geiser? It's a simple question.
Senator,
Mr. Geiser, you were able to answer Senator Kennedy. Are you raising a doubt now about your answers to Senator Kennedy because you can't answer this question?
Senator, I would advise clients to follow applicable court.
Is that a yes or no?
I would advise clients to follow applicable.
Is that a yes or no? Let me repeat the question so there's no ambiguity about it. Would you ever advise the administration, you're going to be, if you're confirmed, heading the Office of Legal Counsel that helps determine whether actions are lawless or lawful, would you ever advise the administration that it could ignore an applicable district court opinion or order because you believed the Supreme Court would ultimately overturn the order? Yes or no?
Senator, if I'm confirmed to lead the Office of Legal Counsel,
All right,
I would.
You're not answering the question. So I guess the answer is to Senator Kennedy, you just might advise the administration to ignore a district court order. How about you, counsel?
Thank you, Senator Schiff. In my role as director, I
Just
am not.
asking yes or no.
Well, I would, thank you. I wish to clarify, I'm not, if confirmed, a director, I'm not acting in a legal capacity at all. I'm part of the executive agency branch and therefore would not be advising clients on any aspects of that.
Well, would it be appropriate in your view for anyone else among legal counsel to do so?
In general, court orders should be followed and respected. There are situations which I recall back from law
Okay,
school between branches.
I guess you're not able to answer the question either. Counsel, how about you?
Senator Schiff, thank you. I mean, I agree. I don't believe it's appropriate to address this hypothetical. At the Department
Okay,
of Justice,
so you want to revise your answer to Senator Kennedy then? That is, there may be circumstances where you advise the administration to disregard a district court of opinion because you believe the Supreme Court might rule otherwise. Is that your opinion?
as a lawyer, the answer is it depends.
Okay,
What I can-
thank you. Then we'll make sure Senator Kennedy is aware that you just might, it depends, advise the administration to ignore court orders.
Senator, if I
Let me
could
ask another question. Mr. Geiser, would you agree that it would be unlawful for the president to accept a gift from a foreign state without the consent of Congress? Would you agree that's unlawful?
Well, thank you for that question, Senator.
Yes or no?
Whether something is lawful or not, I would always want to look.
I'm just asking you a simple question. Is it unlawful for the president to accept a gift from a foreign state without the consent of Congress? Very simple question.
Senator, as a lawyer, I would always give my.
I'm not asking you for a preamble, just yes or no.
Well, Senator Schiff, it depends on the fact.
Well, Mr. Geiser, where is the depends on the facts of Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8, which says, no person holding any office shall, without consent of Congress, accept any present from any foreign state. That's the Constitution. Doesn't say, well, it depends, or it might, or maybe. It says, no person shall do so. Do you find that ambiguous?
Senator,
I thought you were supposed to be the strict constructionists. This is what the Constitution says. Is there an exception for $400 million planes from Gulf emirs?
This was supposed to be a routine oversight hearing, a chance for senators to evaluate potential appointees to the Department of Justice. But Adam Schiff, being the political hack that he is, decided to use it as a platform for yet another partisan ambush. He wasn't asking questions to get to the truth. He was building a trap. He was trying to force nominees into saying something, anything, that could be twisted into a headline and weaponized against the Trump administration and every conservative American who supports it. His line of questioning was as ridiculous as it was transparent. Schiff kept pushing this absurd hypothetical. Would you ever advise the administration to ignore a district court ruling if you believe the Supreme Court would eventually overturn it? And he demanded a yes or no. No room for legal context. No room for real-world application. Just yes or no. Now, anyone who has even a basic understanding of the law knows that yes or no doesn't cut it in complex constitutional scenarios. The law doesn't operate in a vacuum. Legal advice is based on facts, circumstances, precedent, and the nature of the case. But Schiff doesn't care about legal truth. He cares about sound bites. He cares about twisting reality to feed the media machine and energize the radical base. Take Mr. Geiser, for example. This man calmly and respectfully said that generally, court orders should be followed. That's a reasonable, constitutionally sound answer. But Schiff wasn't satisfied. He badgered him again and again, accusing him of dodging and misleading. Schiff didn't want clarity. He wanted to create confusion, suspicion, and doubt. That's how the left operates. They use language as a weapon. They manipulate words to cast shadows over anyone who doesn't conform. Schiff is a master at it. He perfected the art of deception during the Russia hoax, spending years lying to the American public, claiming he had direct evidence that Donald Trump colluded with Russia. He never had it. He lied. And he lied to Congress, the media, and the American people. And now he wants us to believe he is the one defending the rule of law? Give me a break. Then Schiff pivoted to the Emoluments clause of the Constitution, trying to paint a picture of corruption. He asked whether the president can accept gifts from foreign governments without congressional approval. Again, he demanded a yes or no. He even quoted the Constitution word for word, as if that makes him some kind of constitutional scholar. But here's the thing. We all know the Constitution. We respect it. Conservatives are the ones fighting to preserve it. Schiff quoting Article 1, Section 9, like he's delivering a sermon from a mount is laughable, especially when he and his party constantly trample over constitutional limits whenever it suits them. Let's not forget, this is the same Democrat Party that cheered when Joe Biden ignored the Supreme Court on the eviction moratorium. The court said no, and Biden went ahead anyway. Where was Schiff then? Where were the constitutional lectures? Crickets. Total silence. Because their outrage is selective. Their respect for the Constitution is conditional. They only care about legal boundaries when it's politically convenient. This hearing wasn't about justice. It wasn't about protecting the law. It was about intimidation. Schiff was trying to bully nominees into making statements that could be used against them. If they said, "No, I would never advise ignoring a court order," the left would claim they're dodging accountability. If they said, "It depends," then Schiff would jump up and say, see, he wants to ignore the courts. This is how authoritarian regimes operate. You create a no-win scenario for your opponents, then use their words against them. Schiff is not a public servant. He's a propagandist, a political operative. He's not interested in justice. He's interested in power. And the fact that he's still sitting in that seat after all the lies he told during the impeachment scam, the surveillance abuse, and the years of false accusations against President Trump is a disgrace to the institution he claims to protect. What we saw in this hearing is exactly why the American people don't trust Congress. It's why faith in our institutions is collapsing. Because these hearings are no longer about serving the people, they're about scoring political points. So here's the bottom line. We need legal experts who follow the law, not the leftist mob. We need judges and DOJ officials who aren't afraid to apply the Constitution as written, not as reinterpreted by woke activists and politicians like Adam Schiff. We need patriots in positions of power who can stand their ground even when people like Schiff try to tear them down. That's why we do what we do here at America First. Because someone has to tell the truth. Someone has to push back. And someone has to remind Washington that we, the people, are still watching. So if you're tired of the gaslighting, tired of the media spin, tired of the same corrupt elites running the same corrupt game, then support us. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and support us on Patreon for just $5 a month. That's less than the price of a coffee. But it helps us keep the lights on, keep the content coming, and keep fighting the good fight. This isn't just commentary. This is a movement. This is a mission, and we're just getting started. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.